Oh, you guys, oh my goodness. Very sweet. Thank you for the warm reception. I'm Donna. Welcome to the Beauty Beat 2024. Welcome to everyone at home who's online watching. Gosh, I mean, ladies, you did it, because we are here at the QE2 and it looks, for those of you at home, I must say it looks amazing. But what is more amazing is seeing all of you here, seeing so many faces that look like mine. I say it every year, but every year we have more. And honestly, it just moves my heart to see you all. Thank you for the support. Thank you for buying tickets, for coming, for commenting, and all of those great things. Like, Beauty Beat does not happen without black women. It's you. So we can do what we do, but without you, it doesn't happen. So I'm so grateful. Thank you. And now it's time to introduce two of my absolute favorites, personal favorites. Don't have favorites, but you know, just two. The incredible Sabrina Elba and Funmi Fetto. And and the skin on these two ladies, take notes, take notes.
Oh,
I don't know, how's the lighting on stage?
Right? Welcome, everyone. Gosh, it's so wonderful to see so many black faces. Can I say that? It makes me very, very happy to see everyone here today coming out for this talk, but also coming out just to support Beauty Beats. And, you know, Donna is incredible, and I just have to give that extra shout out to her for building this brand. Really, really amazing. But thank you everyone for coming out this morning. And thank you, Sabrina.
Hi, Sabrina.
Hi. We always have fun when we get together, and let's hope that'll be the same thing today. So before we start, let's tackle the elephant in the room and start with a question that everyone is keen to ask.
I'm sweating.
What is it like being married to Idris Elba? No. You don't have to answer that. You don't have to answer that. But, you know, I thought... It's not a real question.
I know he's listening, so the pressure is on. No, I met my best friend. Like, how often do you get to... I know it's really corny and really sappy, but like I'm very much in love. And
this is cute. After 5 years, this is very, very
after
cute.
After 8 now.
Is it 8?
8, married 5.
Married 5, yes, exactly that.
Crazy, time flies.
Well, I'm very thrilled.
But look, listen, just when you are at your lowest, don't worry. God will be like, oh, it's all right. Here's Idris Elba.
For you. For you.
Everyone's soulmate is out there. I genuinely believe that.
Thank you. Now, I'm going to let people know a little bit about Sabrina, because I think there is this idea that it's, oh, Sabrina Elba, who, oh, yes, she's married to Idris, but actually she's so much more than that. So you're Canadian-born, you're a Somali woman, you're a model, yes, but you're also a businesswoman, you're a goodwill ambassador for the United Nations, and you've also done a lot of work with Global Citizen, and they have a mission to end extreme poverty and also to promote social justice. And of course, you're also the founder of Sable Labs, co-founder, I should say, with Idris also. But yes, I say all of that just to say she is much more than simply Idris Elba's wife, okay? So welcome again. Okay, so let's start from the beginning. So I remember when we met up just before the brand launch, we had that wonderful catch up. And
I was so nervous.
Oh, stop
Everyone's
it.
like, you're gonna go meet Funmi. I was like, no, what? Oh my God, I was. You are, I was saying, a national treasure in the beauty industry.
Oh, that's so kind. You're so lovely. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. But we had a wonderful time. We had a really, really cool time. And I was really impressed with not just the ethos of the brand and so on, but just how passionate you were also about skincare as well, and bringing your baby into the world, and bringing this brand to us. Tell me, where did this come from? What are your sort of earliest memories of beauty and skincare?
Not very good. You know, a lot of good things come out of frustration. And that's where I was. This is about 4 or 5 years ago now. And I had really bad acne as a teenager, which was obviously led to really bad hyperpigmentation, as many women in this room will understand that. And then it came back in my adult years. And I was like, isn't this like a hormonal teenage thing? Like, and at this time in my life, I was like, you know, with this amazing person on carpets and doing photos and feeling my least confident self ever because I was so uncomfortable with my skin. And, you know, Idris being such a supportive partner talking me through, and he's like, well, look, it's fine. You look beautiful. But you never want to hear that when you're frustrated, right? And I tried everything. Like, I'm a Neutrogena generation, Clearasil generation, St. Ives apricot scrub generation.
Oh, let's not go there.
I know we remember all of that, okay? Proactive generation. And I was so frustrated that everything that I was buying into, and even later in my adult life, having, you know, somewhat more knowledge, I thought, and buying a lot more, I thought, I was like, this isn't working. And why isn't it working? And I'm the kind of person where I need to know why it isn't working. And I went to a dermatologist, and the first thing she did was just prescribe Tret. It was very aggressive for me. I was telling people the wind was hurting my face. It does work for some people really well. It just didn't work for me. And I thought there has to be a better solution. I realized very quickly, as many women here will know, that it wasn't me that was the problem. It was actually the landscape of the industry that does not cater to melanin-rich skin. And in fact, we are considered at the very end, after testing, you know, after product formulation.
Absolutely.
And melanin-rich skin does have some specific needs. It can be more irritable, it can be drier, it lacks ceramides most times.
So, you know, all the ingredients work very differently on different skin types.
Absolutely.
And skin tones.
But
that's
the
not
best part about having black skin, our bougie skin, is if you formulate for us first, everyone benefits, because it's almost like using a colored hair shampoo, right? Start with the most sensitive group, and then you've got something for everyone. And I could not understand why that wasn't the case in the beauty industry, particularly when it came to issues like hyperpigmentation. So we made a promise to ourselves, if we were going to tackle this issue, we were going to do it 360, because the mistake that I was seeing a lot of brands do was have sort of this complete range, whether you like it or not. At the end of it, there's a dark spot serum, but the rest of the range pre-triggers that inflammation and sensitivity that then leads to more hyperpigmentation. So it's cyclical. And I was like, we're not going to do that. I really wanted to create something that focused on melanin-rich skin. And that's why we call it melanin-inclusive skincare, and then show the world that actually everybody can benefit from that. And at the same time, I got to incorporate amazing ingredients from my heritage.
We are going to talk about that. Tell me about when the brand actually started. So when you sort of kick-started it, because I think it's really interesting now how you can speak so eloquently now in regards to how formulations work and so on and so forth, and that's something you've had to learn over time. But talk to me about when you first started, how that was, what the journey was like.
I was a little lost. Me and Idris are like, ceramides.
Well, if it's any consolation, I remember years ago when that first, you know, everyone started talking about ceramides many years ago, and myself and another quite well-known beauty director, I remember us being in a lift one time and looking at each other and saying, so what's ceramides? So if that's of any help at all, I think there have been so many different things that a lot of people just had to learn. We just had to learn. We had to become almost like scientists.
And I had to do that. I had to learn. I did not want to put and we had the opportunity, but I didn't want to put my face to a white labeled product. If I was going to do this...
Describe to everyone what a white label, because not everybody's familiar with that term.
Yeah, I mean, more commonly than not, actually, you'd probably be surprised. Rather than hand pick all the ingredients in a formulation, brands will go to a lab with a base formulation, so almost like a starting point, and people might say, oh, I want to add some, like, essence of this, or like a cherry, like, I don't know. And then the rest of the formulation was actually pre-picked for them, and is commonly spread out through lots of other formulations. So sometimes you're even getting the same thing if it's from a lab.
A lot of times you have a lot of brands, you have different packaging, different labels, and so on, but it's the same product, essentially.
Yeah. So I didn't want to do any of that. And that's why I need to amass quite a bit of knowledge very quickly, right? And I took a friend that I knew, my friend in the industry. I feel like we all have a friend in the industry, and she was doing sales and education at Tom Ford, who you've met, and actually for all of Estee Lauder in North America. And I was like, you're my beauty friend. Can you come and help me figure this out? And she was like, what are we doing? And I was like, but she's also blonde-haired, blue-eyed. And I knew I wanted to make something that I loved and that she loved. And her name is Jessica. She's not here today, but we do have the Sable booth with the rest of the team upstairs. And between the both of us, we benchmarked, we studied our ingredients, we Googled every word we didn't understand, and we went to the chemists in the labs with these formulations. We knew everything we didn't want as well, because I wanted to eliminate anything that could pre-trigger inflammation and lead to more hyperpigmentation. No drying alcohols, no sensitizing ingredients, no fragrances. People forget how irritable fragrances can make your skin. So I knew what I wanted. And then you've got the lab to kind of go, well, you kind of need this preservative and you kind of need this binder. And that's the bit where I'm like, thank goodness for cosmetic chemists. I mean, they really are geniuses. And actually, it is a bit of an art form to do it, you know, and to have so much limitations, because we gave them quite a heavy box or a strong box around what they could and couldn't do.
When was this? Because how long has the brand been out now?
This is about 5 years ago
5
now.
years.
We only launched 2 years ago, but it took a long time. But it wasn't the formulations that took us the longest. And I know you probably want to know about this. It was how we sourced the ingredients and raw materials in our formulations that took us a very long time. Both myself and Idris in our philanthropic work with smallholder farmers and rural people across the global south, and we understood what the supply chain in beauty was doing to rural people. So we didn't want to contribute to that. But to be able to do that and supply raw materials for the brand the way we wanted, we had to go and meet individual farmers, co-ops, go to countries that we were sourcing from, get to know the people, pay them the market rate.
Across the African continent.
Yes, so this is for our African raw materials. And it really frustrated me when an ingredient like okra, everyone would say, get it from the US. And I'm like, no. That is an African ingredient if there is one, you know? And that took a very long time. And actually, we heard so many no's. So many labs said, we do not accept raw materials this way. We had to get the ingredients on the European portal, and I was so adamant about doing that because someone's got to do it. It really should be the bigger brands doing that, because it is harder for small brands to source that way. But once you get it right, you can carry on that way.
I was going to ask, and how do you, for instance, get to know that, okay, if I have okra in certain forms, it will do this to the skin, and you know, and black seed. Like I talk about your, you know, the black seed toner that I'm obsessed with. Honestly, you know, a lot of people shy away from toners because we had the situation years ago, certainly a few of my generation, where, I mean, toners were literally like paint stripper. They could strip paint off the wall because they were so riddled with alcohol and they were just so detrimental to your skin, and really they would build up even more problems. But yours is incredible, and I mean that. I mean, I pretty much use it every day.
I didn't pay her to say that.
No, she hasn't. I use it every day. And as someone who writes about beauty, pretty much most things land on my desk, and I have to try a lot of different things. And honestly, it's one of the very, very best that I've ever used. But I say this to say the ingredients that you use, what goes into that? You know, how do you then come up with the idea that this particular ingredient is great for X, Y, Z? Because some of the things that you're doing actually is very different to what else is happening within the beauty landscape.
You know, it's actually the funnest part. One of our gift bags upstairs says, not your auntie's okra. But it's just this play on, like, I've learned everything about beauty from my mom, Idris's mom, our aunties, the wealth of knowledge about these antioxidants. And because the climates are so harsh across Africa, it has some of the strongest antioxidants. So I knew at the beginning, I was like, if we're going to use any botanicals, it has to be African botanicals. I mean, let's use the powerful ingredients. When you go and meet these local farmers, they are so knowledgeable, and they'll say things like, the pharmaceutical industry don't want you to know, but this moringa and this marula do that and this, and I've used it in my hair. Like, I've learned the most amazing things about these ingredients from the people who are actually farming them, and that's the way that it should be. And then we get to go in the lab and go, oh, I wonder if that would work as, like, you know, a scalp serum one day, or this, or how many different ways can we use this ingredient? And then, of course, you've got market sheets for certain ingredients that we can then strip information from and apply that. You know, for instance, I found out okra was packed with alligopeptides, you know, through studies, clinical studies that had already been done. I just didn't understand why it wasn't used for skin then. It's an amazing ingredient. It actually acts like a no-tox Botox. And I'm like, wait, why is this not more common?
Murmurs in the crowd.
Yeah.
And that's going to sell out now.
I think there's this push. I think there's this push away from natural ingredients. We are not a natural brand by any means. We lift up natural ingredients with science because I do believe, like, you know, I don't want mold in my product. I want a little bit.
And I think that's the thing. I get it gets my back up a little bit when people talk about natural beauty, because what is that? Or natural ingredients, you know, because I'm like, arsenic is natural. Doesn't mean it's good for you, you know. So I think we have to contextualize a lot of things. And I think science is not bad. Everything's all about context, right?
Yeah, and there are certain ingredients in the skincare industry that just work. And we knew we wanted to combine those ingredients, like amazing ingredients like niacinamide. We all in this room probably love niacinamide, right? So it's about lifting up those ingredients and letting them shine. They've been appropriated for so long. So I do feel there was like, okay, I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but I sometimes think industry don't want us to appreciate the integrity and beauty of these ingredients because they are so powerful. Shea has been so abused. It is in toilet paper in America. Like, it is one of the most amazing ingredients out there. A humectant, an emollient, an occlusive. Like, I think it's the only ingredient that's actually all three, right? It's powerful. So I was like, let's put them on the front of the packaging. Let's remind people their names. So they don't know their names, they can learn them and remember that they are African for that.
And that leads me on to my next question, which is around this idea of A-beauty, which is something that you've been quite big on and really pushing that. So really explain what you think of when you say that, when you use that term.
How many Africans in the room? Hey!
We're all African.
You're right. There's a lot of African faces. Shout out to the people who aren't. There's a couple Caribbeans in here, you know.
But we're all, right?
But yes, to your point, we are all African. No, but I wanted to, you know, highlight traditions, ancestral practices, knowledge that has been passed down through generations along the continent, or throughout actually the entire continent. So we don't even cherry pick certain regions. We're happy to go anywhere and everywhere. And, you know, we see K-beauty, J-beauty get so much light, and I just want that for A-beauty so badly. Like, it's so amazing, and there's so much knowledge there, right? And it's not even just the ingredients themselves, it's actually the practices, like using shebe for hair and things like that, right? Like, they're are amazing practices, and I always, when I see an auntie down the street, I'm like, what do you use? Tell me, because you have the knowledge, and it's so sacred to be able to pass that down. Like, I don't want that to die. So we were so adamant about A-beauty being the thing. I think we were actually one of the first to say it, because when I Googled it, it said it was Australian beauty.
Yeah.
I was like, we need to change that. No hate to Australia. I love Australia.
We've talked about this before, you know, this whole idea of A-beauty and what that consists of and so on. And I've always said that I think it's definitely something that should be brought to the forefront, because we have such incredible ingredients and so many incredible rituals and traditions that have been passed down through generations. One of the things that I look at and I see with things like, say, K-beauty, for instance, which is also, you know, incredible, and J-beauty, is that they then become treated like a trend. So what is it that we can do to ensure that A-beauty isn't just this fad, it's just not a passing thing? Because, you know, the industry has this, you know, there is always this thing of, oh, what's new right now? And then they move on to something else.
Beef tallow this.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
that. Like,
exactly.
we've seen every trend, but I think it's twofold. I think the consumers do have a responsibility to champion and be consistent about ingredients that we know are effective, that we believe in. But I also think brands have a responsibility to adapt and you know, evolve with technology and make these ingredients and these stories better. And I think K-beauty actually has done a really good job of that, where it doesn't feel it's a trend because the technology is moving so fast. There's always something new, and it's the same ingredients, mind you, right? But there's new ways to get them under the skin and to make them more efficacious. And I think that's what's important. So it is twofold. It's also on the brands I think.
I think the brands largely need to incorporate those things and champion that as well, because K-beauty hasn't really just stayed within Korean beauty brands. We see that in so many of the big names. I mean, essences now, so many different brands have essences, and that really came from K-beauty.
Yeah.
So I totally agree with you. I want to move on to talk about your journey as a founder, of a brand. How have you found that?
Yeah, you know what? I was not an entrepreneurial person, or at least I didn't think I'd be. And being married to someone who's like a massive dreamer, like wakes up with a new idea every day. I think I was inspired, and he's like, "You can do it. Of course, you spend so much on skincare. You probably save money making your own brand." I'm like, "Huh, he's got a point." I think he just inspired me to just like really take it on. I always tell people I used to think entrepreneurship meant you could pick your hours and you can get holidays when you want, and no, you are the first one in, the last one out. But I've learned so much about myself in the process. I've learned so much about the business. I'm now a trained esthetician because I love the industry so much. Like I just want to keep learning and stretch myself. Yeah,
This is exciting.
If you want a facial.
Oh, yeah. I will not say no to that. Thank you.
And I think it's just given me this kind of realization, wow, there is no limit. You can wake up one day and decide to do something if you're passionate enough about it. And, you know, I feel a lot of times we are unsatisfied with the way the world is and how it works, but you can be that change, right? And I don't think I realized that until I was with someone like Idris, who is so inspiring in that way. So I'm really thankful for him to help boost me up. And as a co-founder, I couldn't ask for a better partner. But I do feel now I'm like, what next? And I know I'm still working on it, but it's addictive because you're like, wow, you can create something and like put all your energy into it, and then and it makes you think you can do anything. And I love that feeling. I think everyone should feel that at one point in their lives.
I'd love to discuss also Black women starting businesses.
Yes.
I think, you know, so much of what you've said is really pertinent, and I think it's really inspiring as well for anyone who wants to start their own business. That said, you know, we have seen that there is not as much support for Black women starting businesses, starting brands. The level of investment, whether from VCs or wherever else, is at its all-time low. It really hasn't shifted for many years. That stat is still there. I'd love to know your thoughts around that, because for, you know, someone starting now and looking at this current landscape, also, you know, one of the conversations I've had very, very recently, and I've had time and time again, is even looking at the month of October, which is seen as, you know, Black History Month. I was really, really, I don't think the word is surprised, but it was really interesting to see the lack of Black History Month, you know, activations or, you know, events, you know, from lots of different brands who would have supported that in different ways in previous years. So we're seeing a dearth of that kind of support. I'd just love to know your thoughts around it and how you found, you know, having sort of allies, whether in the industry or whether in retailers and people supporting the brand and so on.
Yeah, it's a frustrating conversation. I think, you know, we can all relate as Black women in this room to the tons of barriers and you know, the things we have to face on just a daily basis, let alone trying to start a business and then raise money for that business. But I think there are also a couple other things involved. I think there is a big misunderstanding around Black product, that it is somehow only for Black people. I mean, I remember speaking to a friend of mine who's a Black makeup founder, and she's like, I make mascara. Why do people only think it's for Black people? Like, everyone uses mascara, and in the same regard, it's moisturizer, you know, and everyone can use it. But I also think that's part of the retailer's fault. When you walk into a drugstore and you see our products in a separate aisle, I think that's sending out the wrong signal, you know, for whatever reason that was started. I think Black brands need to be also championed by consumers. Like, we really do rely on our community to help spread the word and break down some of those misunderstandings. But the other thing that really frustrates me is the investment landscape in general it's men, right? It's white men. And having these conversations, and they're like, oh yeah, I think my wife heard of it. I'm like, how are you in this industry and you do not know every brand under the sun? Like, I'm sorry, you need to leave the room. Like, sorry, and be replaced. Like, I think we need to see more women. And also, you know, when you hear about brands like Miel and them selling, I know that there's massive backlash towards that, but look at the opportunity that founder now has to potentially start her own VC and then fund other new startups with women who look like her. We need women in the investment landscape, and we need Black women because we understand the product. So, I mean, that would be a dream of mine to be able to be an angel investor for other brands. So I think there's a lot of culprits at play, but it is a frustrating landscape. And like you said, it's getting worse.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's great that you mentioned retailers, because I think that they do have a role to play in this, where they
How
can
many
change
Black
that.
History Month activations did you see
I saw.
at your favorite retailers?
Oh, that's telling.
That is telling.
That's
I
telling.
know. I mean, even just tell me what Black brands you carry. I don't know, on your website. A simple sidebar, hey, did you know that we carry these Black brands?
Yeah. And also, to your point as well, I think that it's important for them to be able to, you know, balance that fine line of, you know, it's wonderful to be a Black-owned brand, but the products can also be used by other people. And I think that messaging still isn't quite happening.
Yeah, and also I think there's a lot of pressure on Black brands to then bring customers into stores that might not have a Black audience. Like I think I read somewhere, as big as Sephora is, only 4 to 5% of its consumers is a Black woman. So how is, I know, so you bring a Black brand into Sephora, I think there is a responsibility in some sense to a big retailer to help bring the customer in.
Yes, they have to support that. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so I want to give some time for questions, so I hope you will have some questions. So my final question really is, what's next? What can you share with us that's next? I know.
Oh my gosh.
A few things.
My COO is upstairs. I don't think she can hear me. Is she here? Is she going to kill me? No, but we have a product launching next year that I'm so excited about. And I feel like I'm going to get in trouble if I say what it is, but it's like a long time coming for us. And I have benchmarked. I am the pickiest person when it comes to this product, so I literally cannot wait for you all to try it. And that's next spring. Yeah, Funmi already knows what it is. See, I can't say, right? Because no, I can't say. No. I'll get in trouble. But the news will be out very soon. And I just want to say, like, even to the people in this room and to everyone who has supported us, like, we've self-funded this brand from the start. We've built this brand through community. And if anyone's in this room has ever bought anything or tried anything, like, please just know I know your name probably because I literally look at our Shopify like every day. Like, I appreciate you so much because we have to support each other, you know. And to me, like, that support has been everything. It really has.
Fantastic. That's a beautiful note to end on, Sabrina.
Thank
you so much. Thank you. And now questions. Oh, I see a hand. Where are the mics? Where are the roving mics? Second row. Keep your hand up, please. Thank you. There's a lady in the second row. Fantastic. Thank you.
All right. Hi. Thanks so much for the talk. It was great. I just wanted to reference the thing you mentioned about Miel and creating Black products that can be used by everyone. So I think sometimes there are, like, you had a product and then it goes outside the Black demographic and then they change the formula because they'll be like, oh, this hair oil is too greasy for my hair. So now they change it to be adaptable to other kinds of hair, thereby alienating their original customers. So I just want to know, like, how do brands or customers draw the line between still being useful for their original demographic while being able to be used by everyone?
Okay, I want to just add something to this. Okay, so if you're talking about sort of brands, as in, just correct me if I'm wrong, so say original beauty brands who then maybe sell to a bigger brand and then they change the formulation, is that right? Okay. Okay. So I feel I have quite strong feelings around this because I've seen this over the years where a product, and not necessarily from a Black-owned brand, but, you know, it can be a product from anyone, and you've been using it for years, and then you realize that, oh, it feels a little bit different. And obviously I work within the industry, and I'm speaking to the brand going, this is just a little bit different. And they're like, no, it's exactly the same. I'm like, you're trying to gaslight me. I know this product is different. And, you know, a lot of people change it, and it comes down to money. I think reformulations are a good thing because it can make your products technologically advanced. You know, based on new technologies that are coming out every day, you can look at a product and think, how do I better this? And that's great. But I think that a lot of brands change it because it's either cheaper to make, or they think that, well, then we'll have this other new sort of audience. But my thing is that you should never really forget about the original audience that was there in the first place. You know, you have to retain that audience, and then you can accumulate others, but not at the expense of the original audience that was there. So.
No, I completely agree. It's happened to me in color, where I know, you know, the color is different even, and it doesn't say there. It's not like new color. It's just the same name. That's happened to me with a couple lipsticks I love, actually. But I think the particular pain point with that conversation was that, you know, that product did change for the worse for people, and it is about margins. You're right. When big companies come in, they're going to try and optimize margins, and that can affect formulation. And I think we see it happen again and again with hair, because hair is very particular. Black hair, you know, whatever texture you have, needs more moisture. And you're right. And sometimes people will say, well, this product is now too greasy for, or it's not grease, it's just shine. It was just
also,
glow.
Make another product for another
So,
demographic.
and that's the part that bugs me. It's why not use that as an opportunity to expand the range and retain existing formulations. And I can imagine as a founder that was probably even painful for the founder, because you lose some of that control, right?
Sign the right contracts.
Exactly. Right? Yeah.
Sign the right contracts.
Funmi,
Another question,
We've actually
please.
got a question over here.
Oh, where?
We've actually got
I
a
can't
question
see.
over here.
Hi, Sabrina. I really enjoyed your talk. It's very good. I have a question about, so Sable is a unisex product, okay? It's for both men and women. Just want to understand what the road to marketing for men and women is for Sable, and what are the challenges for men, especially being a man, being here. There's a lot of women, but not many men, but skin is skin. So talk to us about that a little bit. Thank you.
Hello, Idris.
Hi, baby.
Thank you for coming. So it's so funny because I didn't realize, like, Idris was the master unmarketing class, because when we were formulating, he's like, why? What's that? What's that for? I'm not using 3 things. Like, what? But it was actually the best thing, because I realized you can have a maximum impact formulation in one product with less steps. It's all marketing, you know what I mean? Like, you don't need single ingredient formulations. And I realized that I had to unlearn a lot of that. So having a different gender POV was so helpful in that conversation. But even just the toner, our toner being in a spray, that was Idris saying...
Makes such a difference.
It does,
Yeah,
doesn't
yeah.
it? But that was him saying, well, it could be faster. Do you need a cotton? What does this say? I'm like, oh, you're right. So I think just to say, like, having that voice was so, so helpful. Thank you. But it is and has been quite frustrating to be able to market to men and women, because the industry has just put a line down the middle. We do find actually most times when we're selling to women, they're buying for men. So as long as we continue to use male imagery in our brand and talk about the facts of gender, we almost feel like we don't have to do the work. Women get it, then they'll give it to their men. And when you get men on the product, they're the most loyal customers. Like, seriously, they'll just keep buying the same thing again and again. And they use the whole range, which is so nice. They're like, so just tell me what I have to do. What's 1, 2, 3? And I'm like, great, this is what you have to do. But I think it is frustrating for men. There isn't really a forum, a space, a retailer that makes the male shopping experience in beauty comfortable. So I think that is something that needs to be addressed in the industry. And it is a big question, and I feel like it just is asking me, knowing we've just had lots of meetings about how do we do this. I almost want to ask the audience, where have you seen? We almost at one point were like, let's go to the barber shops. Yeah. right? Let's go where men are. But I do think women do still buy for men. And we even hear that from our retail partner, is it's women coming in and buying for men because the spaces have just become a little bit too uncomfortable for them. And that's okay, right? And you don't want to have to force men into a situation either. I wouldn't want to be forced to go shopping at like, what's a really guy store? I don't know. I'm not going. So it needs to be beneficial both ways. But I also think the male industry has come a long way, like in terms of beauty. We made a conscious decision to keep the products colored neutral because I didn't want to put men off by potentially having a pink bottle, because let's be honest, it is harder for, they want something they can display in their bathroom without having 100 questions about what is that? It's something that doesn't say like invigorating, life force, testosterone thing. Like, it's just all marketing jargon, right? And it's just, exactly. And this whole 5-in-1 product, like Idris has come a very long way, might I say. And I'm actually quite impressed that he was upstairs selling today. But that journey for men, it's almost not their fault. Who is telling them, other than Idris's mom, who told him to moisturize every day? Like, don't leave the house with ashy elbows. Thank goodness, right, for moms. The market is telling him, you don't need to like do this. You can use one product for all your things, and actually you just want peppermint and you want witch hazel and you want everything that's really astringent and tons of drying alcohols.
Which isn't the way.
No, and that's not the way. And actually seeing how much his skin has changed, because men are consistent, right? And consistency is a big part of skincare. I'm just like, yes, just like put your face there. Like, use that as the ad, because he's definitely a good benchmark for that. Does that answer your question?
Thank you. Can I have another question? Does anyone else have a question? Surely someone does. Oh, there's a lady just there on the side.
Just here.
And the second row. Can you raise your hand a little bit higher? Thank you.
Hi, Sabrina. Thanks for the great talk. You mentioned that you didn't know how the workload of entrepreneurship could be quite overwhelming at times. Is there anything else about entrepreneurship that surprised you or that you wish you knew before you got into it?
Yeah, something I feel not enough people talk about is the people side to it, is you are managing people. At the end of the day, there isn't really a book on like how to deal with people's emotions. And I found that actually for myself, I'm a very like, I don't, it's funny, except for Idris, I don't ask too much like, in terms of, tell me you like my work, or I don't look for approval necessarily. So I sometimes forget to give it. And I want my team to know how much I love them, but I'm not the most verbal person. But it's whoever you are, whatever kind of personality you have, learning how to engage with other personalities is a really big part of the job, because you want everyone to work effectively and efficiently. And no one will ever understand, the passion that you have for your business as much as you do, because it's yours, but you're trying to instill that in people, and it's a really big part of the job. And I'm finding now I'm like focusing more on what can we do as a group together, what can we do as a team to help build that morale and also inspire, and also how you can give opportunity to the people who are giving their days and weeks for you, and whether that be equity or something else. I think it's a really important part of the conversation. I wish that somebody had said to me, look, people are always going to be your biggest issue, because it is always people. Even if something goes wrong somewhere, somebody's messed it up somewhere, and it's how you deal with people that really makes all the difference. So
that's good advice. We have time for maybe 2 more questions. Oh, there's a lady at the back. Thank you.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. Thank you for the talk as well.
Everyone is so beautiful.
Oh, thank you. I have a question with one of your products. So last year I bought the set, and it was probably one of my favorite skincare trio that I used. So I think it's Quasil in the face wash.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a bit more about that ingredient and like how that actually works for our skin? Because I found that it really did clear up my pigmentation, but just anything else interesting we should know.
That makes me this is like my favorite conversation to have. My qasl reminds me of my mom. It's a Somali ingredient, and it's from the gob tree. It's a natural soap, but it's packed with antioxidants. And when I was formulating the cleanser, it was literally all I could think of was my mom in my head using ghusl every day. And I didn't want to use any harsh surfactants. We only have oat amino acids, kaolin clay, and the ghusl. And that enough will get all the makeup off your face and the day off your face, but leave your barrier feeling strong and protected and your skin feeling replenished with the shea and the rice bran oil. So for me, it was an ode to my mom and my heritage and my country. It's also naturally antibacterial, so it really helps with acne, which is why a lot of Somali women use it. And you'll notice, a lot of Somali women have good skin. They're putting that ghusl on every day. And the mask we then formulated after that with the same ingredient is literally my mom in a bottle. Like, she used to whip this up every day. We're big Costco goers back home. I know there's a couple of Costcos in the UK. She'd wear it to Costco. Like, you have to understand how embarrassing that was for me, walking around with a mom with a green face. I was like, oh my God, but she was so adamant about it. And like, looking at her skin now, I'm like, wow, it's so beautiful. So it's an amazing botanical. I feel like it's made the cleanser, this product that is so innovative. And also what I love about it is because it's a powder, you can kind of work it up so that it doesn't feel exfoliating, or you can have it so that you can feel the powder and you can get a nice daily gentle exfoliation. All of our products are good for sensitive skin. Also, it just reminded me to tell you guys that they're 20% off today. So if it's your first time trying it, this is a good time to try it. But ghusl is it's an amazing overall ingredient. So thank you so much for asking that question. I wish my mom was here to hear you say that.
Well, thank you. I think we've run out of time. Do we have time for one more question? One more. I'm told one more and you need to stop. Okay, so who's this wonderful lady here? Fantastic.
Hi, Sabrina.
Hi.
Can you hear me? Hi. Hi. I've been using it since the launch, and
You guys, I'm gonna cry.
every product that you've come out with has hit the point. I absolutely love it. There's a couple of things that I want to ask you, which is one of the big one is the trio, the little travel sets. Oh my gosh, they're amazing. But can we have the serum, please? We need the serum and the mask in the travel set. Like, can we have that? Can we do that?
I promise you they're on the way.
Okay, yes.
You know what it is?
And
it's so funny. Idris said to me, Idris literally said this morning, like, why is it taking so long for the serum refill? I'm like, I was just trying. But it is, we really just are a self-funded brand. Like, as a small brand, it does take longer to get to those milestones, especially because of things like MOQs. Like, these are all things, like, I didn't even know what these things were.
So the minimum quantity orders.
Exactly. So when you buy, just even the packaging to do something like that, you have to buy en masse and, with minimums of like 20,000. So then you've got to wait for capital to then be able to, do you know what I mean? So, but I promise you, they are coming out ASAP.
Amazing.
The serum needs a mini. It does.
We need a mini, but we
Needs a mini.
need a refill for the big one because it's
Yes.
made for a refill.
It is. It actually already has the capability. So we've got the refill ready. We're just, I really appreciate you saying that. Please DM me so I can hear what you thought about the product. Anyone. Like, I am that weird person that opens their DMs. Like, I do, because I'm obsessed with hearing what people think. Thank you so much. It means a lot.
Thank you so much, everyone. Sorry we can't take any more questions.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. It's so nice.
Hello, everybody.
You guys, how amazing is Funmi as well? Thank you so much. I love speaking to you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, everybody. Hi. Sit, don't, not just yet. Not so fast, ladies. I'm here to pay my respects to two beauty icons. Thank you for opening the Beauty Beat weekend with such sensational style, beautiful insights. Make some noise for A Beauty, everybody. The future. It's just incredible to have you here. Funmi is a beauty guru of mine. I love her so much. I don't know if you have Palette, anybody? Exactly. Palette book holders. My mum stole mine. But Funmi has really been putting Black beauty and beauty for women of color in an elevated, exquisite way at the forefront for a really long time. And it's just beautiful to see you here today, opening this incredible event, which really celebrates the true innovators and pioneers, not just for your spending power, but for the beauty icons that you all are. As Sabrina said, everybody here is gorgeous. So thank you for being here. Thank you to you two for opening this incredible event. Thank you, Sabrina.
Can we hear it for the shoes?
Thank you to the shoes.
The shoes.
My name is Zazie. I am an artist and broadcaster and lover of beauty and big fan of the Beauty Beat. I'll be hosting this weekend, keeping you company throughout all the wonderful masterclasses and programs. And I will see you back here at 12:55 for the Estee Lauder Masterclass with the incredible Adiola Boyega. So make sure you come sharp, get your seats at the front. See you then, and thanks again. Beauty Beat, we are live!
Thank you.
Thank you.